So welcome the Cosmic Light Collective for attending to us, guiding us, supporting us, helping us in a whole variety of ways. Thank you for partnering with us as we work for the evolution of our civilization and of our planetary body. And we can see that we entered into different experiences and linkages today that we have not done previously. And I heard the words keep the pace as I was preparing to connect with all of you, and we were connecting to be in your presence. And this was the first time that I actually used the term ascension community for our group. And so I'm very much looking forward to your transmission today about keeping the pace and everything else that is occurring on this journey here in February of 2021. So here are our questions for the evening. What does keeping the pace mean? How do we know that we are keeping the pace? What is the role of an ascension community in planetary evolution? And will we continue to learn new practices, modalities, focused lessons to help us keep this pace? And so we are anxious to hear your message. We are delighted to come forward this evening with more practical application of all that you have been working towards and actually working into. It will be roughly a year that we have been meeting, connecting, and developing what has now become an ascension training program, while the planet is also being healed. And so as we were able to utilize this opportunity through COVID-19, not only were you learning, but we were likewise learning how to take advantage of this unique opportunity and how to utilize it for planetary and human awareness, to bring both things collectively to the table and harmoniously being addressed simultaneously. It is the truth that both are going on simultaneously, but each require a different level of intervention. So linking those interventions together so that they harmonize and support both at the same time is a little challenging. Not undoable, but a little challenging. We would say that in the first few months, we got comfortable with the frequency that the entire community was presenting, with the healing and the stability that was required as you moved in to the drama and trauma of a pandemic and everything that it consequentially brought with it. But you very quickly moved through those issues with support, with generosity, with kindness, with a commitment to be present to each other's hearts, minds, and souls, even though you couldn't be present to each other's bodies. So that commitment that you shared with each other became the basis of a commitment that we could then use to move even deeper into your own healing, into your own awareness, and then into what could be offered to larger populations. As we began to work, right, with larger populations in clearing those souls who have sacrificed themselves and passed over through COVID, we also entered into much more of the political arena as the injustices and and as the harm of systemic racism and other financial issues rose very clearly to be seen throughout the country and to be seen even within families. So we moved into a greater expansion of how energy could support not just the souls of those needing to move into their heavenly experiences, but also how to energetically affect environments and communities needing compassionate attention, even as they struggle physically to overcome the oppressions that have wreaked havoc in their neighborhoods and in their communities. So the expansion, continued to move, right, from the pandemic into the politics and very much into the environmental situations that across the globe have contributed to the presence of COVID-19 and its wake-up call to all citizens that live on this planetary body. So we've been approaching and impacting multiple aspects of human culture. And it's human culture. It's not American culture. It's human culture. And because of that, the opportunity to now fully participate in the ascension of the planet and in the development of a realization of a civilization of peace has unfolded. Your community being one of the most powerful and one of the most committed, were utilized to see just how this could be developed, how this could be expanded, how it could become a template for larger experiences around the globe. We would say that there are 10 or 12 other communities equal to yours that were also used as templates, some in Japan, some in Europe, some in Australia, some in New Zealand, some in Chile, and some in the Philippines. So we were looking at varieties of experiences around the globe to really understand what could we collectively put forward, not just individually, but collectively put forward, that would create an energetic linkage that will further the momentum and encourage the strength and the stability that will allow all of these groups to keep the pace. We have a 12-year assignment, and we have a deadline to reach. The deadline is not merely Earth deadline. It is a galactic deadline, it is a universal deadline, and it is a multi-universal deadline. So there is a conflagration of Earth, solar, galactic, universal, and multi-universal timelines that coalesce in the year of 2012. Not 2012, in the year of 2032. 2032. And so we are in this 12-year period to move us to 2032 with an awareness that we are good to go. We are good to go. But in order to reach that deadline, currently, at the rate that we are working, which is already pushing many of you, we must maintain the pace that we are at and even get a little stronger. Therefore, the linkage in communities is happening sooner than later because it is necessary to motivate, inspire, uplift, and strengthen the smaller communities so that they can show up for the bigger work in which they will participate. Some of the smaller communities will not be doing the depth of the work that the larger ones are. And by large, we're talking 20, 30, maybe 35 people. It rarely goes over 35. 35 is actually an anomaly. It's more around the 20 to 25 mark, and most of them are somewhere around 15. So recognize that just a small group of souls is a pretty powerful engine for transformation. So we will utilize the groups that are capable of the larger transmutations, and we will encourage that support with those smaller groups. As each of you grow, shift, and change, the point is for all of you to move into an equal playing field, completely unconditionally supporting each other as you thrive and develop your skills as soul-embodied human beings. So with that being said, yes, you have been experiencing multiple techniques and many new modalities, which are allowing you access to higher galactic and universal assistance so that you can utilize these new tools practically for effective physical change on the planet. And this is key, effective physical change. Because in order for the planetary ascension to unfold, in 2032, the way you physically treat each other and every kingdom of nature on the planet must be visibly different than how you are behaving now. Visibly different. Now, some of that is going to be visibly different because the planet is reclaiming her body, and your shores, your mountains, your deserts, your climate change is beginning to significantly shift how you live and where you live. So that's a physical change. But for those who remain in environments that are going to be, those who remain in environments that will not be severely impacted, right? You're still going to have to change how you interact with the environment, the energy you use, the food you consume, the impact you make on the planet through any kind of violence at all of that will also be addressed. So the modalities that you're experiencing are energetically powerful to initiate and establish new physical patterns of behavior. That's very important. They're here to establish new physical patterns of behavior. Now, if all of you think back to when you began to work with the clear light of creation, when you began to experience your clear light octahedrons, which was probably over a month to 6 weeks ago when we actually began the introduction, you're now in a very different place. It has not physically been comfortable, right, to utilize this technology because it is upshifting your physiology quite a bit. On the other hand, do you notice how much calmer you are on a regular basis? Have you noticed how you are able to move out of dramatic situations relatively quickly compared to what it was like before? Are you aware of how much less your ego is triggering you? Have you paid attention to the depth at which you are able to relate to others, even if they cannot relate in that depth to you? Have you paid attention to the freedom that you feel in your heart to love without having any reason why? We would venture to say that all of you have had one or more of these experiences over the last 6 weeks. And it's just the beginning of so much more to come. Because as your ego is surrendering to your soul through this process, there is a new level of freedom occurring inside your being. And that is the freedom to make enlightened choices. Not with drama, but to make enlightened choices with confidence. And take that word in. To make enlightened choices with confidence. To know that you can trust yourself and trust your community with anything and come out thriving. No, it will not always be easy. But it will always be possible. You are in a full-on galactic ascension program. We have been able to utilize this experience to bring forth weekly lessons that impact planetary evolution and simultaneously support your soul embodiment. We found a way to combine them both. And so therefore, your ascension community includes an ascension training program because you're in it. Your entire world is in its ascension training program. You're just consciously participating and contributing to the best and highest ways in which the soul of humanity and the soul of Earth will take center stage. You know that you are keeping the pace when you see the signs of evolutionary development. When you are not triggered so easily, when you are able to unconditionally love in kindness and generosity, when you are able to hold your boundary in the face of all egotistic activity, when you are able to comprehend a lesson emerging or confronting you instead of running from it in fear, when you are able to work with and through your body, to give your body what it needs, and to identify an ascension symptom from a physical disease, and know when to treat the physical and when to treat the ascension symptom. You will know that you are keeping the pace when your vision includes the ability to perceive the situation, relationship, or environment in which you are in from your soul's perspective, understanding the bigger picture so that you can relax into the part that you are playing and that you can make decisions about what that part means and what it requires of you. This is a family affair. This is an experience of soulful family, committed to caring for and loving each other through all the changes that ascension brings. Yes, this is a community, and a community that supports its members. But more than that, it is a family of unconditional love. And as a family of unconditional love, it seeks to uphold and honor the soul of every family member, of every community participant. Because as each soul develops, the soul of the whole grows stronger. As each individual masters a telepathic gift, an energetic shift, a conscious awareness, the whole community shifts too. The soul is united, connected, and therefore the impact that you have on each other is much greater and much faster than ever happens from an egotistic connection. The ego by nature is separate. In its separation, it inhibits progress of the whole. The soul encourages and motivates progress of the whole through each other in its unifying and its uplifting trajectory. So together, your shifts are greater and more than if you're doing it alone. It is also relevant to recognize that each of you work in a collaborative capacity. Those who are learning follow those who have mastered. But some who have mastered a particular skill become a follower of someone else who's mastered another skill. So there is much more continuity of experience as each of you show up in your best ways with your greatest abilities. not only being supported by all, but being shared by all. Ascension communities, through these soulful family interactions, are setting forth templates for enlightened living. They're setting forth templates of awareness and appreciation for interconnectedness with the kingdoms of nature of the planet. They're setting forth templates of behavior for human evolutionary shift. They're creating templates of awareness through which a general population can take the steps to choose soul awareness. There are many opportunities for ascension communities to serve, and some communities will highlight one particular aspect over another. This particular community is a testing community. We utilize you in many ways, in many environments, situations, relationships, and with multiple resources. We do a lot of research and development in testing ascension training materials with this community. So it's a little bit rockier because we don't always get it right the first time, but we do learn and we do fix it as we go through. So you are a multifaceted community that has access to many avenues. The issues around higher sense perception are not so difficult as your mouth of God chakra, your higher chakras in the ears, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, your galactic chakras. All of these are opening in gentle and consistent ways. Many of you are hearing more, seeing more, feeling more. You will continue to. And it will be at a rate and in a fashion that you can easily tolerate so that your progress is consistent. Remember that as we enter 2032, as we move into 2038, these forms of multidimensional communication are going to become critical because they're going to become more necessary as certain parts of physical life on Earth become a little more difficult. You are being trained in tools of communication that will be quite helpful in the future. And all of this training, even though the pace is intense and we must keep the momentum going, and we must build that momentum to allow an attraction to occur for those who are even considering soul embodiment. Because the bigger the energy drawing the individuals to soul embodiment, the more will actually join the movement. It's like the greater vibration of a song that gets people to start to hum along with it, because the melody is so intoxicating and so attractive, you just start singing before you even recognize that you are. Soul embodiment to the egotistical is a useless activity. Soul embodied to those who have recognized that their egos have tortured them is a real option. And as the awareness of the torture that the ego has placed many a human under, there'll be a desire to listen to a new song, to roll with a different vibration, to choose peace over pretense. So in the next few weeks, you're going to become aware of how this training and how this process will unfold. And especially for those who are organizing and leading these communities, for they too require support, and the general population sees no reason for their existence. And so, as these methods of creating and sustaining these communities and providing support for those who are the caretakers, builders, and supporters of them unfolds, we ask for your patience, your care, your support, and your assistance. It takes all of us, each in our own ways, to come together to save a planet and a civilization that lives on it, that is so worthy of the light of creation. That's what we're all here for. To save the soul of humanity. To save this beautiful celestial being. And in the process, to provide a lesson for creation itself about what it means to love in the face of fear. To love in the face of fear. Love melts fear over time. But when fear is what your civilization has been built upon, it requires that love become a new foundation upon which fear can be laid to rest. Because it is no longer needed or desired. Everything about the modalities that we bring forward, multidimensionally, energetically, etherically, in the long run, comes down to various ways to love. Some with more complex mechanisms, others with very simple ones. But in the final destination, Our ascension communities are generators of unconditional loving that create the foundation for peaceful living. We know that you experience those moments every week. A moment of unconditional love, a moment of true peace, a moment of soulful awareness that you are more than your body, that you are more than your mind, that you are more than your heart, that you are all of that within a soul that is huge, interesting, expansive, wondrous, intelligent, adventurous, and kind. This you truly are. And how could we not love you? Being such as you are. You must recognize that all of us are in a similar training program multidimensionally as you are multidimensionally on the earth. We are learning as much, if not more, as you in our own ways, in our community experiences. We are being stretched, pulled, challenged, confronted on levels that we have rarely seen. And we are becoming more because of you. We do not take that lightly, and we do not take that for granted. Because love shows up for each other. You've showed up to help us grow, and we're showing up to help you evolve. Yes, it is a lot of work, and it is time consuming. And we are all worth it. All of us. We gave you an experience of linkage today so that we could whet your appetite for what it will feel like when we really collectively are able to make these links in a very different and even possibly somewhat a physical way. That's not for the immediate future. But until then, we will have opportunities to energetically link and to at least become aware of the power it affords the planet and those dwelling on her. We thank you for your commitment. We thank you for your support. And we ask you to be open and generous and kind as over the next few weeks you hear some of the changes necessary to be able to move forward on the earth plane and to take care of each other in doing so. Become aware of us collectively, the Cosmic Light Collective, descending around you as you collapse your upper and lower pyramid of your octahedrons and place that flat plane in your heart chakra. Feel us present to you right now in your home. Know that we are an ascension community, all of you and all of us. And that we're as present and real to you as you are to each other over the phone. You will learn to identify us, to speak to us on your own, and to hear us in response. And your abilities to collaborate with each other will grow. We have often ended these calls with "We are at your service," and we will continue to be. And we thank you for being at service, of service, in service to us. May the blessings be. May this planet heal. May this civilization thrive. May this solar system know the peace that the earth can bring to all. We are grateful. We look forward to our time together next week.